Hello fellow garden rail enthusiasts. Yes, what have we got here today? I can say it's a kit of a guardsman. I wanted to get myself a nice looking little guardsman, and I saw this one on the internet after searching quite a bit, and hopefully when it's finished it will look something a bit like that. Mine won't be blue, it'll be like a dark wood colour, and I'll be varnishing the floor and the step like you see there as well, hopefully, if it all comes together. It's made by a company called Bole Lazer. They're a small company that make laser cut kits. They make line side buildings. They make some locomotive kits and rolling stock kits and some chassis accessories as well. A small company, I believe, but they're making quite a few good, interesting kits, and I got this one, and so far I'm very impressed with the kit. You can see I've opened it already. It's come in this box, and also with some very good instructions, very detailed instructions. I'm very impressed with these. Very impressed with the whole kit actually so far. It looks very good. I'm used to making kits like this. They're laser cut wood. Well, let's see. The kit is actually, this model is based on photos of the guards van used on Burleston Brickworks Railway in Hampshire. It's remarkably small and so a good match for our industrial wagons, and appears to be being built on an ex-MOD railway wagon chassis. It gives you a list of the tools required, and like I say, it gets very detailed instructions. They've got plywood parts, MDF parts, SLS nylon parts, and some glazing to go in the windows in the guards van as well, and they even give you some painting advice, hints and tips as well. And like I say, very detailed instructions. I am really impressed with this. It does go on all through the different sections. I won't be filming the whole thing from start to finish because I might take my time over this, and there will be some point where I will want to stop and do some painting. You could quite easily have this as a static model. I think it's that good. It looks that good in this finished picture. You'd be quite proud to have that as a static model. But this will get a lot of use on my railway. I'll intend to use it quite a bit, as much as I can. So I'll be building it to be used as such. I will get to a certain point before I put the roof on so that I can paint the inside. I don't want to paint it as I go. I want to basically 90% put the whole thing together and then paint my the colour that I want to paint it, which includes the seat inside and the floor, before I actually come to put the roof on, just to make it a bit easier for me. Now, the colour that I chose to paint mine is obviously, I've got a yacht varnish here, varnish to paint the step and the floor in the guards van, and I've got a dark wood. This is actually Jacobean dark oak wood colour that I'll be painting the actual guards van with. Some of my other model building involves tall ships, tall sailing ships, and these are the colours that I paint my tall wooden sailing ships. So I know they come out okay, they look quite nice, so I'm hoping that this guards van will be similar. Anyway, we'll get on to the contents of the box. This is a plastic, it looks like it's been laid, probably 3D printed. Very well, very good, very nicely textured roof. to the guard's van. Probably be the last thing that I put on. And now we have a bag which has got all the smaller detailed bits in. Right, so we've got the buffers in there, the column for the control brake wheel inside the guard's van, handrails, and the corner braces of the guard's van as well. You've got the windows in there and the wooden bit, or the wooden frames for the windows in there as well. There's other bits and pieces, and you've got some screws and that in there for the construction of the guard's van as well, and the chassis frames and springs, or the sprung suspension detailing in there as well. Now we'll go on to the wheels. Now these, again, this is another thing which impressed me. A lot of these kits you get plastic wheels, which are okay, they do their job, but these are actually look like they're machined steel wheels, and they're nice and heavy, so that should give the guard's van a bit of weight, keep it on the rails, so to speak. So they're quite nice. Obviously 2 lots of those. Now we get to the wooden parts. Now these, as I said before, they're laser cut, and I've done a lot of modelling with these sort of parts before. Now it's entirely up to you whether they do suggest in the instructions that you lightly sand this to get rid of the laser burn marks off the back of the wood, if you choose to do so. I might actually leave mine. That might actually give it a bit of texture and a bit of age looking to the edges of it, and to the corners of the guard's van and stuff like that. Not that you would really probably see it when it's finished, but I'll probably leave that on mine. Obviously you want to use the textured surface upright, of course, but yes, that looks like it's part of the floor. You've got one of the window end part of the guard's van there, some side beams, members, part of the chassis construction. The other end, some more another window's end, and another part of the floor, which I think goes on top of the finished chassis. But anyway, we'll start and we'll get into it. Lay all these out. I think that's the first one. I'll start constructing this and I'll get back to you in a moment. Now this is the completed first, or what they call it, step one chassis, and that's the completed page there. And what I'm holding here, it's 2 side members here, both sides, an end buffer beam, and one this end as well, onto the first stage of the chassis floor. Now as we go on to step 2, what they call the main body, this then gets turned over and it starts to take the shape of, like I say, the floor of the guard's van. Anyway, I'll get into this next section and I will show you, hopefully, I should imagine, the finished box section on that part of the chassis. Yeah. Anyway, step 2, main body. Now then, we've done most of that step 2 main body section. I've put the end part of the body, the window end, onto the end of the chassis, making sure that we've got the step holes at the right end. You have to glue in the larger of the pair of window frames into this end wall, making sure that the thinner ends are on the outside. And if you follow the lines of the laser cut detail, they do go in place quite well, quite easily. I did dry position these a couple of times before I was happy that I was actually putting them in the right place, which is always a good thing to do with this type of glue, which obviously is a super glue. I didn't mention that earlier, but that's what the kind of glue that I use all the time, basically because it dries so quickly. Of course, you have to be sure. So, but double checking is better than not. But anyway, we've got that bit on there. The next section is putting the floor, the detailed floor, onto the top of the chassis, and that will go on there like so. So I'm going to do that, and then once we've done that, we'll start to put the side walls on, and one of the ends for the seat, the internal seat in the guard's van. And then shortly after that, we will put the other end wall on, which has got the door in it, and the smaller window frames go into that section of wall. But anyway, I'll get on and I'll do those bits, and I'll show you in a moment how well I've got on. Now then, we've glued the side wall, or one of the side walls, on. I'll put one end of the bench leg in on the end wall there, and we've got the doorway end wall, which will go on here. Like so. I've got the other side wall, of course, to put on this side, the other bench leg to go in, but once this is in, and of course the bench to go on top. Looking at it, I should be able to complete the whole guard's van without putting the roof on, and still paint it how I want to paint it, because I want to do the floor in the varnish colour, like I said before, and do the walls in the dark oak wood varnish colour. So it's now on to the almost the last section of the body building part of it, and once I've got that section done, I will come back to you and show you the progress up to that point. But it's coming together quite nicely, it's fitting together very well. I did have to do a bit of shaping, only very slightly, down the side of the window frame there to get the body side wall to go where I wanted it to go. But I've dry fitted the other side, and that side is fine. So it's only very slight. But I'll do that next stage, and then I'll get back to you and show you how I've got on. Right then, I've got my end wall on, and I've got the second bench leg glued in place as well. I don't want to restrict my access in there any more than that, really, because I want to be able to get in there and paint the floor, the varnish colour, and then the interior of the walls, the dark wood, dark oak colour, and then I'll put the bench top on, which is this piece here, glue that in place, and then I'll be able to paint the interior walls. But now I've done the end wall, so to speak, and put the strengthener frame on it as well, remembering to get it the right way around so that I've got the nice clean side on the outside. I do like the fact that it's got the laser cutting burn marks on there, because it does give it a bit of an edge that you might see that looks a bit like, you know, wear and tear. But anyway, this end piece is going to go on here. I'll glue that on now. Go on like so. And then I'll put the chassis frames on with the wheels. And then once I've got that on the end, I'll be able to do some painting before I put the roof on. Anyway, I'll see you again shortly. Now then, folks, I had to stop filming yesterday afternoon. Believe it or not, it's now the next day, because I had other commitments came up and I had to stop the construction of the guards van temporarily, and by the time I could get back to it, I'd lost all the daylight for filming, so I had to stop filming. But I did carry on making it, building it, and I thought I would just do an update the following day once obviously I got better light for filming. But anyway, what I did was I managed to fully build it. I put the running, the suspension, the chassis detail on, and the wheels, the buffers, and the steer or the brake column and the brake wheel. I put all that on, and the corner pieces, the handrails and all that sort of thing, and then I painted it. I varnished the floor first and the steps inside and on the little veranda bit, and once I'd done that, I then glued in the bench seat, and then I painted the sides the colour that I wanted to paint it. I did all that, and eventually I cut the roof because the roof is oversized, and I cut the ends off, only roughly, and then glued it in place once the roof beams had been put on as well. And that was all after I had painted most of it, about 99% of it. And then eventually, right at the end, I put the windows in, the glazed windows, because they have a sticky film on them which you peel off and then glue in. The only one problem I had was the screws in the buffers. The holes, the pre-drilled holes in the wooden buffer beams were a little bit too big, and the screws didn't bite into the wood. But all I did was I super glued the buffers in place, put a tiny bit of super glue in the holes, and then just put the screws in, and just the last 0.5 millimeter screwed them in, and they'll be fine. So before I give you the big reveal of my one, I just wanted to go over those bits. I did paint it the colour that I wanted to, which was the yacht all-purpose yacht varnish, interior and exterior, for the floor and for the steps. And this actually is it's a traditional wood dye from Wilko's, Jacobean dark oak. Like I say, these are the colours that I normally paint my my model boats, my tall ships, and it has come out quite well. I'm quite pleased with it, but I wanted to just explain all that before I showed you the finished guards van. But here we go. That is it. Like I say, I've got all the detail on there now. The buffers, all this detail is really good. I like the finish of the plastic bits. It's like a matte black, but the brake wheel column is all in there now. The floor is all varnished with the step. The chassis gear is all on there. In the kit instructions, actually, they do suggest these little bits here to snip them off because they're not needed, but I left mine on because I thought they added a little bit more detail to the chassis, so, and the suspension, so I left those on. But I think this wood colour has come out really well. I'm quite pleased with that. I say, on my tall ships that I make, it looks good on those as well, so I thought it might be a nice colour to go with on this guards van. But the buffer detail is really nice. I like these because they even give you the little plastic pins which go in if you want to secure a chain in there. As well, and they do actually give you a section of a plastic chain, but I think it's quite strong, to connect up to your wagons or whatever. So all in all, I think it's turned out to be really quite nice. It's quite a nice little model. I don't know if you can see it in there, but you just see the bench detail and that in there, hopefully. But I'm very pleased with it. It's a very good kit, very detailed. It's nice and easy to build. Like I say, I've put all mine together with super glue, and that is it really. I would like to, if I have the chance, like to have a go at one of Bole Lazer's diesel locos. That would be, I think that'd be a nice kit. One of the, because they do 2 or 3 of those as well, I think, in their selection of locos that they also produce. So that's that. I'm very pleased with it, how it's come out. I think it's very good. Highly recommended. Anyway, I look forward to putting that on my garden railway and seeing how it goes round. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.